We didn't have a lawyer when we first got started. We actually found our lawyer by closing with the same attorney over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And we ended up closing 25, 30 times with her. And over the course of those times, we just got to know each other more. And then finally just asked her, said, would you be interested in just being our lawyer? We can call you and we can access you. What does that look like? And we set up an agreement like 3 years ago. And she is the person we call when there are real estate questions. We do very creative deal structuring sometime where we're taking over mortgages, or we're allowing the person to stay in their home and paying their mortgage and structuring it in a very strange, odd way. And, closing an escrow for years at a clip. And so there's very unique strategies that we go about doing things that we need to make sure we're legally okay. And like Scott was saying, you've got to have that team. You got to have that CPA. When we first got started, we didn't have a CPA. It was just one rental property. And we're like, yeah, we'll just keep books on it and whatnot. And then we added another. And then, when we got to 10, it's like, there's a lot going on here. We need someone to keep this for us. We need someone to make sure it's okay. Because if we do get audited, we need to make sure we have what we need. And we read a book called Who Not How. It's a book about who can do the job for you, not how can you do it yourself. Chances are, you don't need to know every aspect about all the dealings you're going to do. And it would take you someone else's lifetime to become a professional in each of those different lanes that your business needs to travel down. Figure out who can do it for you, build that team like Scott is saying, and focus on what you're good at. Focus on what your niche is, on your business. Ours is real estate investing. We're not lawyers. We're not CPAs. We're not handymen. We're not these people. We have a team. And just like any business owner out there, you don't need to be your own lawyer and your own CPA and accountant and banker. You don't need to be all those things. Focus on what you're good at and outsource the rest, because that's where you're going to get the biggest return and the biggest safety net, I believe.
Yeah, early on, we made the mistake of doing all of our own bookkeeping as well. And it ended up being costly because I had used Quicken before in my personal life. And so I knew how to do categories of expenses. And so suddenly my QuickBooks had 200 categories of expenses, and which affected my general ledger. I'm a business guy, and I've got a degree, and I've taken accounting. I at least knew what those were. I didn't know how electronically it was working, and so I really messed up my chart of accounts. And so then I had to pay a CPA to go through and fix all that stuff. And it was much more expensive than if I had just had them come out and set it up.
Yeah. And there are great CPAs out there that will get you on like a subscription base, like Scott's talking about, where you can pay them $100, $200 a month, and they will just keep up with stuff for you. And now, Scott, I don't know how much your program is, but from the wisdom you're speaking from, I promise you're going to save more money spending a subscription to have a lawyer on call than it would be to go to the emergency room and fix something with a lawyer that you need in the moment. My wife is Tiffany. She co-hosts with me on our weekly podcasts, and we are firm believers of making sure our team is solid. And we have just continued to add more people to our team on these subscription-based things of, well, our CPA was once a year, we file once a year. And then it got more complex and it got more cumbersome, and then we started flipping, and then we started getting into short-term rentals, and then like our real estate just branched out. And it's like, okay, we've got questions coming up throughout the week all the time. Can we buy it? Do we need to buy it in this LLC? And that's our real estate lawyer. Do we need to set up different bank accounts? That's our CPA. Do we need an umbrella policy for each rental? That's our insurance agent. Do we need all these things? So we have these teams that we are subscribed to their service, and we can reach out to them. We have access. And y'all, the wisdom that Scott is pouring out right now is something I just wish I had when we first got started. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We all know how icebergs work. We see about 40 feet on top, but there's about 700 feet below. I would advocate for everyone that doesn't have a lawyer on their team to at least go to the Scott Reeb on Instagram and just reach out to him and figure out, hey, what does it look like for me to have you on my team? Because we all need a team.
Yeah, and you need if you have a team, like you mentioned, the lawyer and the CPA, sometimes you're asking the question and you're not really sure, was this a tax question or is this a lawyer question? Well, if you have a team set up and they know about each other, then they can figure that out for you. So you just send an email to both of them, and they figure it out, and then they communicate back to you what your strategy needs to be and what your next steps are, while you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and going out and finding more properties.
Right.